Imagine a place where the air smells like jasmine in the south and pine in the north, where you can stand in a desert so vast and golden it looks like the surface of another planet. And just a day's journey away, find yourself beneath the highest mountain range on earth. A place where over 1,000 languages are spoken, where ancient temple bells echo across rice fields at dawn, where the spice markets of one city smell nothing like the spice markets of another, 200 kilometers away, where the oldest living civilization on the planet still breathes, still dances, still argues, still celebrates, in the streets of cities that were old before Rome was even an idea. Hello and welcome, warmly, genuinely welcome to Around India in Half an Hour. I'm your host Ray, and this is episode 0. Before we set foot in our first state next week, I wanted to sit down with you today and tell you exactly what this show is, why I made it, and what you can look forward to every Tuesday at 7 pm when a new episode lands. This is a show about India, not the idea of India that fits on a postcard, not just the Taj Mahal, not just Bollywood, and not just cricket. This is about the full, extraordinary, complicated, breathtaking reality of this country, state by state, region by region, story by story. So get comfortable, let's talk about what's coming. India is the seventh largest country in the world by area and the most populous nation on the planet. It has 28 states and 8 union territories. Each one is, in many ways, a world unto itself, with its own language, its own cuisine, its own history, its own festivals, its own landscape, its own personality. That's what Around India in Half an Hour is built around. Each episode, we take one state or union territory and we go deep. We don't skim. We don't just list famous monuments and popular dishes. We try to understand what makes that particular corner of India, that specific piece of this vast, ancient, endlessly surprising country, completely and utterly unlike anywhere else. We go alphabetically. That means we begin with Andhra Pradesh and we end eventually with West Bengal. Every state gets its own episode. Every union territory gets its moment. No corner of India is too small, too overlooked, or too obvious to deserve a proper story. Because here's what I believe, and I believe it deeply. There is no boring state in India. Every single one of them, the moment you actually dig in, reveals something that will stop you in your tracks. A temple so old it predates recorded history. A dish so specific to one district that people in the next district have never tasted it. A dance form so intricate it takes decades to master. A coastline so dramatic it barely looks real. India contains multitudes, and this show is going to explore all of them. So, what does a typical episode look like? Here's your roadmap. We start with the land, the geography and physical landscape of the state. Where in India is it? What does the terrain look like? Mountains or plains, coast or plateau, forest or desert? And how does the landscape shape the way people live? Then we look at the borders. Which state shares a fence, and in some cases, which countries? India's states don't just share borders with each other. Some share borders with Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, Bhutan, China, Pakistan. Those borders carry enormous weight, and we'll explore what they mean. From there, we travel through history. Every Indian state has a layered, extraordinary past, ancient kingdoms, dynasties, colonial chapters, the independence movement, partition were relevant, and the journey to becoming part of modern India. We tell that as a story, not a timeline. Then we look at the state today, the cities, the economy, the population, the way people actually live their lives in that part of India in the 21st century. We talk about remarkable people, the scientists, poets, freedom fighters, musicians, athletes, and artists who came from that state and left their mark on India and the world. We spend real time in the kitchen because Indian food is not one cuisine, it is dozens of completely distinct culinary traditions, and each state has its own. We'll talk about dishes, ingredients, cooking style, and the culture around food that makes each region stable unlike any other. We visit, in our imagination at least, the must see places, the temples and forts and beaches and hill stations and wildlife sanctuaries that make each state worth putting on your travel list. We talk about the arts, the classical dance forms, the folk music, the handloom traditions, the cinema industries. Yes, industries, plural. India has multiple thriving film industries beyond Bollywood, and we'll celebrate all of them. And we close with a look at how the rest of India and the world sees each state and what that state most wants to be known for. That's every episode. And by the end of it, that state will feel real to you in a way it never quite did before. Let me give you a little taste of the journey ahead. We begin next Tuesday with Andhra Pradesh, a state on India's southeastern coast with a history stretching back to ancient Buddhist civilizations. A cuisine famous for being among the spiciest in the country, and a coastline that stretches over 900 kilometers along the Bay of Bengal. It's also home to one of the richest temples on earth, the Tirumala Venkateshwara temple, where over 100,000 pilgrims arrive every single day. After that, we head north to Arunachal Pradesh, the land of the dawn-lit mountains, tucked into the far northeastern corner of India, sharing borders with China, Bhutan, and Myanmar. It is one of the most biodiverse regions on the planet, home to over 26 major tribes and arguably the most stunning landscape of any Indian state. Then comes Assam, the gateway to the northeast, famous in the world for its tea, home to the one-horned rhinoceros and threaded through by the mighty Brahmaputra, one of the largest rivers in the world, and one that defines Assam's identity completely. And that's just the first three. We have 28 states and 8 union territories to cover. From the snow-capped peaks of Himachal Pradesh to the backwaters of Kerala, from the sand dunes of Rajasthan to the mangrove forests of the Sundarbans, from the ancient cave temples of Ajanta and Ellora to the steel cities of Jharkhand, from the French-influenced boulevards of Pondicherry to the island paradise of the Andamans. We have a long, wonderful, extraordinary road ahead. I want to say something before we finish today. India is a country that is often described in superlatives: oldest civilization, largest democracy, most languages, most festivals, most everything. And all of those superlatives are true. But sometimes I think they can make India feel abstract, overwhelming, too big to actually know. That's exactly what this podcast is here to fix. Because India isn't one thing, it's 36 things, 28 states, and 8 union territories. Each one deeply, proudly, beautifully itself. And the only way to truly understand this country is to sit with each of those pieces, to slow down, to actually look. When you finish listening to every episode of this show, I want you to feel like you know India, not the tourist brochure version, the real version, complicated, layered, astonishing, and deeply worth knowing. That's the goal. And I think we're going to have an incredible time getting there. So that's Around India in half an hour. Episode 0 is done. Episode 1, Andhra Pradesh, is coming your way this Monday at 7 pm. Be there. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, please subscribe or follow the show wherever you're listening right now. Share it with everyone. Leave a rating if you can. It makes an enormous difference in helping new listeners find us. Every Tuesday, 7 pm, one state at a time. I'm Ray. India is waiting. Let's begin.